What a time to be alive, super coaches. This is the Phantom speaking. Welcome to a last minute edition, a special edition of the Lair. I am going to reveal my final side for 2025. Plenty happening, plenty of late news coming through. The teams are only a couple of hours away. And of course, the first bounce at the MCG of the Supercoach season, not far away either. I've got my friend, the Chief, Haydn Dos Kenny at HK Dos on X here with me to go through my team today. Talk about, he's going to pull it apart. Of course, we want you to pull it apart as well. So get involved.
Get on the comments. I'm looking at them, looking at all the comments. There's already some comments about my dancing at the start, fans. So we're off to a firing start.
You're pretty happy with that tune.
I was. We'll get to some questions at the end of the reveal as well. So yeah, make sure you're getting them throughout the course of the stream.
But of course, if you are just joining us for the first time or you're new to Supercoach, get on and pick your team now. It is free to play, weekly cash prizes, and of course, 50K up for grabs for the top overall Supercoach at the end of the year. Supercoach.com.au. Get your team, start picking now. Join the Lair Open League as well. Take us on, Dos.
Take us on. Don't have the code off by hand. I mean, go check the Phantom's Twitter. He's posted about 3 times today, I think, about it. So go check that out. But yeah, you're probably all fighting for second though, Fans, this year. The 50K has already been locked away. My team is looking very schmick, but that's hidden. That's hidden behind the Dossie's brain here. So we'll have to go through yours and decide, if this is the one that you can hit copy paste.
You're more important. You're more important than me now. Keeping your team under wraps.
Yeah, it's well hidden under wraps. But I'll be maybe taking some notes today to make some final adjustments to my team, which might look very similar to yours by the end of the stream.
You are easily led astray, as we've learnt over the pre-season so far. We'll get that league code up to you a little bit later as well at the end of the show.
We will.
Should we begin?
I think we should. Let's get your team up and cracking. Obviously, we're starting from scratch here.
Yep.
Take us away.
But also, just need to say at the start, this is the team pre-team sheets. There are surprises thrown up if something happens that we don't expect.
Yeah.
Someone's not named, a rookie's not named, a surprise rookie is named. Could change as well. So look out for potential updates tomorrow morning. I'll be all over social, but hopefully not. I'm pretty happy. I said to Dossie earlier this morning, never felt so relaxed on a Supercoach day in a morning. So this is how we're going to go in defense. Start easy. Can't go without him. You try to go without him. Harry Sheasel from the Roos is D1. Should be everyone's D1.
Oh, doesn't have to be everyone's D1.
Have you got him in your team?
Priced. He's still not in there. As we mentioned on the podcast, I've gone I'm still no one over 600K. But yeah, I think if I was to pay up for anyone this year, I think the defensive line is so hard to decide who's going to be that top echelon picks. And Sheasel, he's an obvious pick. He's going to be a top 6 defender for sure, and likely a top 3, probably top 2. Probably top 1.
I've gone opposite. I've gone the big dogs. Now we know Flex is in. Get a bit of a free hit. One of your scores drops out each week. Of course, we've got more best 18 buy rounds this year. So big scores, high ceilings, big scores are going to be king. It seems obvious. It is obvious. So I'm picking for the ceiling in 2025. We know your 5 scores a number of times in the opening rounds are going to drop out.
Yeah.
So those big scores could set you apart. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, that seems like you've gone back to the old guns and rookies in the last week, I reckon. You've been more of a balance, but yeah, I'm keen to see this team.
It's big dogs.
Have a sneak
big
preview.
Dogs alert.
Big dog alert, yeah.
Now, I did have Lockie Whitfield. He's gone because I need this guy. I've structured up a little bit. So gone a bit heavier down lower in the ruck. So needed to balance it out in defense. No Lockie Whitfield, but Dane Zorko, D2, Richmond and West Coast for the Lions in the opening month. Still playing at half back. We know he's a Supercoach pig. And we speak about high ceilings. We know how big this guy can go. He doesn't even need to play your Richmond and West Coast in the opening month, but he is. So he's in my team D2.
That's huge. And yeah, I'm not a huge fan.
Not a huge fan. Now that's underselling. You said this morning that it was the worst call of the season. Did you say that?
Look, I like the schedule. I just think all of us were panicking last year trying to pick Zorc at some point. I know obviously we all ended up on him, but I feel like everyone, the whole community just didn't want to jump on. We're worried about the age last year. He's only a year older. We're worried about potential injuries.
Yeah.
Look, Father Time does remain undefeated. How Zorco's beat him to this point is unbelievable to me, but I personally can't go there. I think there's gonna have to be a trade this year. Like, he dodged every bullet last year by not getting an injury basically at all last year. So he's going to be awesome when he's playing. I just worry that eventually you're going to have to spend a trade on him. So it's just a gut feel pick, but I can't pay that price for Zorc this year.
Let us know in the comments if you're Team DOS or Team Phantom when it comes to Dane Zorco. We're scrolling down a bit for D3, only 2 premiums. Now, this is the Lair zone, the Lair's boy. We've been talking about this guy for a long time, had him in our sides, been talking him up even before the big score against the Hawks. Matty Roberts, I think he was a top 6 smoky the start of pre-season. Might not. He's probably just a top 6 contender now. Can take the word smoky out of it. He doesn't need the kick-ins as such. But if you're the man that the Nick Blakey or the kick-in taker at the Swans kicks it to, it's just as good. And we know the Swans like to get the ball in his hands. 124 points against the Hawks. Lock him in.
I remember you talking about this guy in the preseason. It probably was the first time we started really talking about Supercoach for the AFL season, this coming up. And I believe you mentioned you were looking at who finished last season strong.
Yep.
And yeah, it was his percentage was just that high above anyone else. And we were just looking this preseason if he can look to replicate that. And so far, what he's done is just confirmed everything that we thought.
Yeah, well over 100 to finish the season last year as well for him. Now, D4.
Just a quick update, by the way.
Oh.
We've had 2 team Phantoms on the Zorco.
Oh, very good.
The Zorco decision here. Continue.
D4 is probably the spot where a little bit in trouble, a little bit unsure about, given what I've had to spend down a bit low, which we'll see shortly. Don't have a lot of money. And I don't have a lot of confidence to play 3 rookies on the field. Put up something on Wednesday night across Code Sports Herald Sun advertiser websites. Had Wayne Miller at D4. Now, the Crows, I think, want to play him. Only played 2 quarters in the preseason, so I'm a little bit concerned. If they do play him, does he become the sub? You've been in my ear a little bit about this, the guy that is the fullback option. I'm going to put the fullback option in the team for now.
Yeah. Yep.
Jacob Blight from the Tigers, D4. So it's going to be Blight or Miller unless something else happens and I do play the 3rd rookie, because the 3rd rookie on field, Jackson Pryor, just say, could potentially play on field, or Luke Trainer, who will be on the bench as an emergency. We'll see in a minute tonight. If he scores well, that could allow for the 3 rookies on the bench. But at the moment for this team, reveal Jacob Blight. Now, intercept star. We know how important intercept possessions are for Supercoach. Finished off quite well last year. Flying under the radar. You like it?
I do.
One thing you agree on.
Yeah.
We agree on.
I think from what we've heard, the game plan might be switching up a bit at the Tigers this year. A bit more chippy in the back line. It's the only way they're going to probably stem the bleeding. And yeah, Jacob Blight, great interceptor, has been, a high scorer in the waffle, which isn't an easy comp like the old Neefle days. It is a tougher comp, and I think he turned up back there. So yeah, look, pretty confident that he'll produce some good scores. And as you know, I like to go for some strange sort of things that dictate who I pick. And I've liked his social media presence on the Tigers.
Yep.
So clubs that pump up certain players, I do notice this. And to me, they wouldn't be pumping up players that aren't sort of in the natural plans and think that they're going to be in a mix for the team. So he's had a big presence there. And 23 years old, I think Jacob Blight's going to have a big year. And dare I say, let's just look at that number again. 1.5% owned fans. That is what we call in the Lair a bit of a pew-pew, shooting from the hip.
Yep. Now, I don't have many pods.
No.
So, and I do, now, I could wake up tomorrow morning and regret this, because I do get excited on a Thursday night when the Supercoach season comes around. You want to cheer on a bit of a pod. We're going out to watch the game after this.
We are.
I want to cheer on Jacob Blight. Everyone's got Tom de Koning BC, or you should.
Or C.
Or C, straight C. We're not talking about that. Now,
Yep.
D5, D6, 2 rookies. Some are going 1 rookie. I think we've got enough there. Ben Patton from the Swans is on there, 67. I'll take that. He's averaged that before at St Kilda during his time over the past couple of seasons. So I'll take that there from him. D6 could be either of the next three. Zach Reed from the Bombers. We've said if he's fit, he's too good for Brad Scott not to pick him.
Yeah.
Too good for us not to pick him either. So I think if he's there, he'll be okay. Look good in the practice match too in the Amy series. So I do like him. James Leake, if you have been listening to the Lair, we like him a lot too. We've spoken about him for a while. Yes, the 50% game time in opening rounds, a bit of a concern. Tom Green coming back. Could he be subbed? Could he miss out?
I've been listening to a few pods in the community, other podcasts as well. Like to really mix up my listening, hear lots of different opinions, as everyone should, I believe. And there's more of a negativity towards James Leake than I thought there would be in the sort of mainstream. And that's just based on, Tom Green's impending return, and how he can kind of fit in there. And given he's got the bye in round 2 as well, you only get the 2 games and you got a bye. And if he's not selected after that, you might get stitched up with a doughy. So I'm familiar with a donut in my time in SuperCoach. And I think for me, I know you're quite shallow aside from your real big dogs in defense.
Shallow.
So you might have to, well, I mean, in terms of you got Blight.
SuperCoach.
You got Blight D4. So I think for me, if you can maybe have a little bit more of a job security, go a bit less rookies in defense, it might be the play. But by all means, James Leake, he looked fantastic given limited time ago.
Yeah, now Jackson Pryor, if I can free up some cash, he's the one that could come in.
Yeah.
Leake's not named, or he's going to be subbed, definitely. Jackson Pryor, I'll try to get him on. Would push Zach Reed or Ben Patton to the bench. Luke Traynor is, as I mentioned before, is going to be D8. Named on field, scored well in limited game time in the Amy series, high draft pick, intercept star as a kid, bottom price, 113K. Put the E on him tonight, lock him in.
Yeah, he's a guy I'd almost like just, if you are going cheap in your last, I'm almost tempted to put him on field, but I just haven't seen enough. Like, we only saw that one sort of quarter that he played and it looked fantastic, but it was in garbage time in the last quarter. So, but he like, his scoring, he was kind of on track. He scored like 28 and a quarter or something. So, geez, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to just chucking him on field, but
if he scores, let's say 80 tonight.
Yeah.
Pick Bo Allen.
Bo Allen.
Who's sick this week and should come straight back in to that side. Forget about the -12.
I don't know. I've been told that's not a smart idea by our little group chat, going with the Bo, but I actually don't hate the idea because I think Bo Allen in general has got great job security. So I don't hate the idea. If Traynor goes massive. Yeah.
Depends what it is. Let's assess that later
massive
on.
For a rookie, of course.
Moving into the midfield, just got a message from 5 names. Simeon Kingsley, Thomas Wilson. If you are familiar with the Lair, just firing in a message. I thought he was watching. He was going to give us a bit of a bar, but
do we get him on the?
could ring him on the Puritap open line. What do we do if Levi is the sub? Is what he said. Now, you haven't heard yet. This is a bit of breaking news.
Yeah.
Tom Morris has posted on X that the plan is for Levi Ashcroft to be sub for the Lions.
That would be huge news.
Won't be confirmed until Saturday, though, is what he said. Now, that's a spanner.
That is a spanner in the works.
After what he did in the Amy Series game, we thought it dispelled any concerns that he might not get enough footy, the role might not be there, or that he couldn't win enough footy outside of a pure midfield role, which we know that is not the case.
Look, if that mail is accurate, I think I'm just off because there's so many good rookies to pick this year. There's so many both under Levi's price and above his price. Like, if you can make your way up to someone like a Nathan O'Driscoll or something, I feel like, if you can guarantee, if that's going to be a sub, you don't know whether he's going to come on at halftime, at right near the end of the game, which he kind of did a couple of times there in the preseason. So as much as I think he's an absolute gun and he could probably score 40, 50 points and still, make some cash with that limited game time and then eventually move into more of a friendly role on field starting, I think I wouldn't start if you're guaranteed to have a sub. What do you think?
Yep. Well, he was on my team 30 minutes ago on the field.
Yeah, same.
We're going to change him now.
So
again, in the comments, let us know what you're thinking. Who would you swap him with? I'll let you know my replacement as we get through the rest of the team now. Just told 5 names to tune into the live show. Said no.
Wow.
So
Okay. I'll just get a couple of because by the end of the show we'll have too many questions to get through.
Yeah, what
all
do we
these. I'll just get a few comments going. As we mentioned, so Phantom, let's just have a quick look at your team here as well as we go, so we can sort of talk about it. But someone here, Team Phantom for Zorko as well. We had a few there. Somebody's mentioning the concerns for Levi Ashcroft.
Yep.
Potential sub, not worth it at 185K. I think that's where we're
I agree.
standing at the moment. How do we top up leagues with experts? Well, Phantom, you can provide the advice on that one.
Add an expert tab tool there in the league window. Should be you can even add HK DOS.
You certainly can.
You look for the plus symbols.
Jet saying that Blight is a massive pod. He's massive pod, and the ball's going to be down there so much. So
yep.
We do like a bit of Jacob Blight as well, clearly. Leak will be dropped, says Joshua. So he's kind of on the train of maybe avoiding him as a rookie option given the Tom Green return.
Yep. Now, if that is the case, then happily try to find some cash for a Jackson Pryor.
Yep. Logan Evans, Joel Freesia as well. Do you like them as pods? I know you haven't obviously gone with any sort of that price range. You've either gone big dog or sub 300, but do you like those options?
Yeah, Freesia was the one I want to get there. I looked at the screen for about an hour the other night going over it when I did make the big move in the ruck. He's the man I want there, Freesia, but just couldn't make it work. Couldn't change. I would have had to change too much to free up the cash.
Yep.
Again, if something else happens with selection and a premium goes down or and is not picked for some reason that we don't know about, and it could happen tonight, then if I get some more money, that might happen.
You got some options. Yeah. All right, let's get into your midfield then, fans.
Yep. No Butters, obviously out of action. I had this guy in before the news, before the opening round game was cancelled, before Brisbane's early bye was removed.
Yep.
Lil Lock.
Oh, Lil Lock.
Lockie Neal was barely out of second gear in the Amos series, still scored a SuperCoach ton. He was going to be a big pot. Last time I checked, was still in only 28% of teams. So under 30% for Little Lockie. Against,
are you counting that as a pod?
Well, it's, there'll be 70% of the competition when he scores 200 against West Coast and Richmond. Like you'll be missing out.
I mean, I was a very, very happy owner towards the back end of last year. And it was lovely to own. So I'm imagining starting with him, especially with that early fixture. I mean, obviously we weren't even looking at Brisbane players until then. So until a week or two ago. So I haven't looked probably close enough because I've done so much research on everything else. Maybe I should, as I said, I might copy some of your picks here, Fance, across this show, and maybe he'll be one that shuffles into my team. But I do love a bit of Lockie Neal as well. Who else you got in the midfield?
Now, this one might attract a few comments because it has been a big talking point all week. I said it on the Lair. If you listened, I said I'm going to back in Nick Daicos. Said it in our weekly buy, hold, sell segment. So I'm going to back him in again.
Ooh. And let's check out that graphic there. He's got to fight the cramps. Bit of pickle juice.
Bit of pickle juice there.
Pickle juice required. 35% he's down to. What was he at the
other
week?
He could have 35 and kick a couple against the power. I know Willem Drew's there, but Port, he wouldn't like the criticism he's copped. Unfairly, I think, by some as well.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out and absolutely towers Willem Drew and Port up at the MCG. So I'm backing him in, 631K.
I don't love the pick.
Oof.
I don't love the pick. And it's only because, the 66 points, still a tough matchup to start the season as well. Often Port do have a run with player. And I think given, we've heard he's kind of still underdone as much as maybe not to the extent of Cornsy's suggestion, but we know that he has had an interrupted preseason with the plantar fasciitis. So for me, I'm just, that's enough red flags for me. He scored a 66. We've already had red flags in the preseason. I as I said, I'm not paying up for anyone this year. I'm, not
I agree.
Bringing out my wallet at all.
The red flags are there. I'm worried.
What are the comments saying?
I'll stick to my guns, Dossie.
Yeah, let us know what you think of the Nick Daicos starting pick in the comments. I'll let fans know your thoughts, but maybe we move on while those flow through.
Yep, this guy obviously should be in everyone's team. M3, M4, Clayton Oliver, 451k. He's officially back, as we saw in the Amy series. Don't need to talk much more about that.
Yep.
I've seen a few Supercoach teams, batting 5 rookies deep, even given the array of top price options in the midfield there. Levi Ashcroft potentially being sub hurts that. But I only had 4 anyway to begin with. I've stuck with this guy as well. I don't like to overreact to the preseason, Dossie, and I haven't with this guy. This 8.2% of teams he's down to.
8.2.
James Peatling.
Yes, your man.
Now, I know his score wasn't big, but we've seen it before. Players' scores don't always reflect what they're going to do for the year. The role was there, started in the midfield, led the Crows for contested possessions against the Lions in the Amy series. He's not going to be their number 1, their number 2 centre bounce man, but your 4th rotation, which he might be, could be enough given the way he hunts the ball and the body around the ground anyway. So 352, I'm sticking with him. I've resisted the temptation to go up to a Will Day or a Finn Callaghan. We love Finn Callaghan. Going to wait for the buy. If Daicos doesn't work out, which you're saying it won't, a lot of people are saying the same thing, could easily go down to him. If Peatling doesn't work out, potentially could go up as well.
I love this pick, and I've been one that's jumped off. I was on very early. I was on with a lot of people. I was one of the, high ownership people early days in Team Picker and beyond. But I love that you've stuck fat with this because you've been high on him all preseason. You haven't backtracked on that. You've looked at the role. You've heard the notes from training. You've seen footage. Like you've backed in everything that you're seeing and you like what you see. And sometimes there's so many other options out there that become tempting that we haven't even thought about at all, including these guys like a Finn Callaghan. I mean, I've sort of bought the hype and I'm all in, but I respect that with a Peatling, you're sticking fat. They've got some nice matchups early. He is just a stepping stone at the end of the day. So I really like the pick, and I'm probably going to be jealous that you've got Peatling.
You talked me out of Finn Callaghan on the Lair.
I did.
You flipped back.
I did. If you did listen to the Lair, I made a good case actually. I was quite impressed with my own takes there, but yeah, I'm back on board myself. I've backflipped. I know that I just feel like for many teams such as your own, you've got enough players that you can go down to Finn. In my team, my value heavy team, I just don't think if I'm going to have probably a few mistakes I need to fix up, and I feel like Finn is not a mistake, and I don't want to have to, be trying to find a way to get him in when I've already got several other mistakes. So I think that's very team dependent, but I just want to talk about Daicos. Here we go. We got a couple of those picks in our comments. Get your comments in as well across the stream. As I said, we'll do some questions at the end. This Brenton on Facebook says, hate the early Nicky Daicos pick. Upgrade target after round 5-6 is what he reckons. So he reckons drop some money, pick him up a bit later.
Yep, not arguing with that either. That works.
Is Daicos 100% is the question from Peter here. Like, are you backing him thinking he is 100%, that he's just going to fight through this? And that was just kind of a once-off cramp. First game of the season. Don't worry about it. The pickle juice will sort him out.
Bit of both. Can't say it's 100%, but I think a 95% Nick Daicos can still go 130 this week.
Okay.
Hot up there in Sydney. Preparation was off a little bit. I think it'd be better for the run. That's what I'm backing in.
Okay. And one final comment here from Generative22. Dos knew he was getting Finn the entire time. We all saw that smirk. So that is not true.
No,
I
that's
made
fair.
the decision
good point.
later.
I'll have to go back and watch the tape.
Yep. Okay. Let's get on
to the rookies. 4 top price midfield rookie options. Bought the hype on Finn O'Sullivan after the Amy Series game. 9 intercept possessions. Played on the wing, then back behind the footy. Had a real impact. We were a bit concerned potentially early on, can he win enough footy? We knew he was going to be an impact man and a good player. We know how highly the Kangaroos rate him at draft time. But could he win enough footy to score consistently enough in Supercoach? That was the concern. But if that wing role, if the halfback role continues, and he's shown how he can win the ball back off the opposition as well, he becomes a lock. I think 199. And we talk about job security with these guys. If we're paying up, we're paying 199K for a player that's never played an AFL game.
Yeah.
And we want job security, and we think Finn O'Sullivan's got that.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah, the role the other day mentioned sounded great as well.
Yep.
Bit of halfback, bit of wing, bit of mid, wasn't it? So bit of everything from Finn. But yeah, I'm on board after seeing what we saw.
Yep.
In
Now,
trials.
This guy slots in to Will Ashcroft's spot for 5K more, so pushes himself up to M6. And I'm happy about it because I was trying to find a way to get him in. Dan Batten, rookie expert, my partner in the rookie Bible, did say he's fit this guy in as well. So Ed Allen from the Pies.
You've been big on him all preseason. You have. I'll give you that.
Yep, 71 points in opening round.
Yeah.
And again, like I wrote and said on the Lair, surely the way Collingwood are going, they can't afford to, drop a 22-year-old, 21-year-old Ed Allen out of that midfield. He scored 94 Supercoach points in the final round of last year. Wet night of the G against the Ds. Forget that.
The line that you've kept giving me over the preseason as well, something that Nick Daicos said about him, which you were quite fond of, that pricked your ears up. And ever since I've heard the word superstar being mentioned about
Nick Daicos' words,
about Ed Allen for some weeks now. So, yeah, back him in another one. So how much was he? What's his price again? It's
194K.
194. Yeah.
And 71 already.
Yeah, baked in the price.
Yep.
Coming
so we like that. Elijah Sardis.
Yeah.
Another top end rookie price play. I think definitely worth it. We read about him, watched him all preseason, heard about how good he was going, had the ball on a string during Essendon, matched him and internals, then hit the ground running in the Amy Series 2, dominated in the midfield, is a ball magnet and can win the ball on the inside, can win the ball on the outside. I think that's what's going to help his job security as well if he does. Depending on Darcy Parish got to come back into that side, it might look a bit different. I think his versatility in the midfield is key for him. So again, 191K, his ball use is still a bit of a concern, but at that price, doesn't matter.
Can I just say, I feel like as much as I'm locking him in like everyone else is, and I can't go past him, he's the one that I just wonder, I'm like, is he really the big lock that we're talking about, just given how we don't know what sort of coaching is going to happen this year at Essendon. And to me, their trial game, or their official practice match, compared to many others, was much more of a sort of try things out than many other teams. Like Sardis, obviously the number one centre bounce at 10D for that game. Then it was Ben Hobbs. Like, is he really there inside mid as well? And then, you had a mixture of then Caldwell, Setterfield, Merritt, McGrath, Perkins, like, I don't know. Obviously, I'm locking him in. We at that price, as long as he's named tonight and, hopefully on the field, on ball. But he's one that I'm just like, I feel like he's going to be out of our teams quicker than we think, personally.
It's an ambush. You've been preparing this ambush. No, I think he's in their first choice rotation.
I hope so. What do you think, Essendon fans? Is Sardis in there for the long haul? Let us know in the comments. Like I said, I really hope so. I think he's a gun. I'm just saying I worry about the coaching setup and what we can really expect.
Yep. Now, Levi Ashcroft out. Sid Draper's also there. Potentially, maybe was he training with the twos this week in Adelaide. Concern around the sub. It's not all what we're hearing over here in Adelaide is not looking good for, Supercoach out there hoping to see Sid Draper not only named, but then confirmed as not being the sub either. So, off the list for mine at the moment. Angus Sheldrick too, off the list after being subbed in opening round. Mitch Nevitt, last on-field rookie spot. Dan Batten absolutely raved about him, and he was good for Geelong down in that Amy Series game. Again, not just a kid either. Been in the system a few years now. Big body, tall, contested ball winning midfielder.
We can safely blame Dan Batten if anything goes wrong there. I think
Happily.
he's only in my team because of how much he's talked
Now,
about.
we're half about the scores, half about the content as well. So, if he scores well, we'll celebrate it. If he doesn't, we can celebrate taking out Dan Batten.
Certainly. We've just got some updates. So before I just asked if you've just joined us, I asked what Essendon fans thought about Sardis. Sardis should get the nod over Hobbs, but once Parrish is back, they're probably on the fringe. From John. And then his Bombers supporter says Durham plays a bit more forward, which will free up a spot for Sardis to fit in. Okay, well, if Durham is not playing in the midfield, then that's totally fair. I just think he's too good a player not to play in the midfield after his year last year, but we shall see. Another couple of questions here, Fans, regarding your midfield. So no Nod. Another comment says, where is Nod? So Nathan O'Driscoll, not currently in your plans, highly priced, just under 200K, but your thoughts on Nathan O'Driscoll?
Very close. I've got that bracket very, very close. Once Ashcroft, the news came through, it was very close between Allen and O'Driscoll. If I somehow found the cash or something happened again and I could push an Ed Allen or O'Driscoll to the bench, I would probably do it.
Yeah.
There's not much splitting them. Ed Allen, the 71 in his rolling average already. I know they want to get O'Driscoll back into that side. He's done it before. He's got runs on the board. But again, there are a few names pushing the spots in that Freo side. Bit harder, I think, to determine the makeup a bit longer term there. So, again, not a lot splitting them either way. Ideally, I'd get them both in there, one on the bench, but don't have the money at the moment.
Fair enough. Who's on your 3 bench slots in the mid?
Another one we do know is going to debut, Murphy Reid. From the Dockers.
Snuck in, has he? You had him there the whole week, I think, though, haven't you?
Yeah, been talking about him on the Rookie Bible shows with Dan. Bit of a slider in November's draft. The Dockers were rapt to pick him up. And as Code Sports, as Eliza Riley did write a couple of weeks ago or last week, he might have gone past Neil Erasmus and Matthew Johnson, potentially. Now, we need to see the rest of the lineup. That might not be completely the case, but he's in. Going to play against the Cats this weekend. So Murphy Reid, 131K at the moment, pending team sheets. Now, bench selections, all dependent on what happens with the official team sheets, but I like Murphy Reid there. Elijah Hewitt, probably not dependent on team sheets, of course, if he isn't named.
Yeah.
He's a lock, a bench lock there. DPP, 122K, didn't play in the AMI series. He's too sore from the intra-club, but been declared available this week. So unless he's not playing or he's surprised he's not on the team sheet.
I really do like that DPP in the midfield. I just like that little bit of flexibility just in case things go wrong, need to switch it up. I quite like that.
Now, M8, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we know Lucas Campriali is playing tonight, named on a wing, on the field, scored well.
You're fading.
In the AMI series.
Not going there.
Well, I might go there. I've had Hugh Boxall from the Saints in their 113K, same price.
Pending team sheets, yep.
Pending team sheets, but again, the Saints don't play till Sunday.
Nah, I can't do. I'm comfortable with Lucas at the moment for me. Just named on field, like that's massive rookie, especially on a wing. And what he did in the official practice match was, I think, one of the top disposal getters for.
Well, I've just made a live pivot there. So I was weighing it up.
It's just, I feel like if you're playing Richmond, I mean, yes, you don't have guaranteed job security for 3 weeks, but if you're playing Richmond, you're going to score all right. I've almost thought about on field, but he's got the E on him at the moment.
Yeah, Hugh Boxall obviously, still could play and play well over here against the Saints on Sunday, but again, we won't know that for sure. His spot in the 22s, his sub. Anyway, Saints will come out in the next hour and a half and say that he'll be in the 22. I might change back. So let's wait and see. But
a couple of quick cues about your midfield here, fans.
Mm-hmm.
No Sammy Lawler, which I'm a big fan of.
Is he still in your team?
He's in my team. He's on field. He's in my team, Sammy Lawler. I've got him. I'm all about it. And I know it's off such limited, unless you watched his entire junior career, which I don't know if many people out there did, unless the draft scouts. Yeah, other than the draft scouts. But I saw what I saw against West Coast Eagles when he played them. Yes, it's West Coast Eagles as well. And yes, Richmond didn't have a full strength side, but he was the standout there. And I think he'll be better with the bigger bodies that they do have coming in. Even though they don't have many senior players, they have more than they did that day. So I think he's going to play well forward. I think he'll get midfield exposure. And I think he'll probably end up getting DPP as well. So, yeah, I'm all about Sammy Lawler.
Well, Adam Muse did say this week as well that, yes, Lawler would start forward, would get some midfield exposure.
Yeah.
So I think I prefer
200K is a lot.
I prefer Finn O'Sullivan, Ed Allen, Sardis, Nevitt, O'Driscoll ahead of Lawler, just because if these guys are probably going to have a role that allows them to win more of the footy. I know Lawler can have a big impact, and he probably will have a big impact forward centre, but it's going to be hard going in the Tigers forward line.
One last thing, just any worries about starting with Murphy Reid? I know you've obviously got him here, so you're keen, but seems like a fair few Dockers might miss this week from Michael Higginson on YouTube, but might be back next week or the following week. I mean, we know Nat Fife's out for this one as well.
Yep.
And putting a squeeze in selections for fringe players. Any concern there?
Always concerned.
Yeah.
I think that's why I'd love to find the cash to pay up for an O'Driscoll or something, because there's a lot of options in the same boat. Even the Hugh Boxall that we just talked about. I think it's Hasty.
Yeah.
There's a lot of names that you could put in the same basket there. So, yes, ideally I find a bit extra cash, but the Dockers do like him. A lot of, we've talked about Noah Long before. Now, very similar pick, I think. Noah Long obviously played a bit more forward, but, very high impact per position player, very skillful player. We went on him, jumped on him late, I reckon, in the lead up to his debut. I think Murphy Reid might surprise a few and do a little bit the same. I think he has impressed on the track, impressed in the AMI series. I think he'll surprise a few.
Okay. I think we might have touched on it briefly, but why no Will Day? I've had about 15 comments saying, why are you not starting with Will Day? We're looking at your team here. You've gone a couple of big premiums. You've gone Clariot, M3, but you don't have a Will Day, pricing $490K. On the Lair this week on the official SuperCoach podcast, I made the point that he does have a lot of potential tags before his buy round. Does that play into it? But we obviously saw him score 148 points against Sydney in opening round as well.
I think so. I don't not like him, but clubs now will see, if they didn't already know already, which you think a lot of opposition analysis would already know what Will Day could do. It's already did in the first half against the Swans. Then they also saw what James Jordan could do to Will Day in the second half. So will he get more attention now? He's the absolute number one candidate in that Hawthorn midfield to tag. Okay. So don't not like him. Happy with Peatling for 140K less. Structure doesn't allow for another one, and I prefer those top three still.
All right, let's get into your rucks, because I know there's been some changes recently in your squad. Your latest team reveal going up. Was it today, Vance? The big
Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday morning. You still see it there, codesports.com.au. Go into a bit more detail.
If you don't want to hear us waffle on for more, you can go check it out now.
If you want to hear Dossie question me, then you can read it in peace. But the big change was in the ruck.
Yeah.
Most of the preseason, Tristan Cherry, Tom De Koning. I've got the big man in. Now, I've said it, I've written it, gone for the ceiling type players, gone for the big scores to hopefully set me apart. And I was thinking about, who's the extra premium I can get in midfield? Could I get one back in defence? Could I keep Lockie Whitfield? And I thought, who's the premium that's most likely to average 130 in the opening month?
Put the big C on every week.
Max Gawn. R1. Set and forget his back. Look at that ownership percentage.
Yeah, look at that price too.
And his points per minute still could be high, because we know the Giants won't have Kieran Briggs on Sunday at the MCG, and Darcy Cameron absolutely towed him up 150 something points in 3 quarters.
Yep.
So sleep easier at night knowing Max Gawn is in there. Set and forget his back. Tristan Cherry at R2. Don't need to talk about him. too much, came storming home last year. They got beaten in the hitouts by Matt Flynn in the Amy series, still scored 140.
Just can't believe you've left out my boy Tommy DeConing to watch tonight, fans.
I couldn't. No, I would.
Oh,
I wouldn't be watching the footy tonight if I did have Tom DeConing. He's
Oh.
down the flex spot.
Oh, the phone.
Let's put him in. Oh, I won't put him in yet, but I'll put him in now.
The three
I've gone the three big
dog
rucks.
rucks. Now, I remember talking about this.
Yep, you did.
In the very, very early preseason, saying the flex spots come out. Let's just load up our big dog rucks. I've backed away from it. I've shied away. I've said, look, there's too much value. Need that spot to build the cash gen early. But you've explained it. Just walk us through this decision.
Tom DeConing.
I love it, by the way.
Tom DeConing, Max Gawn, and Tristan Cherry all could score 140 this week. And then it's not going to matter what Jacob White scores at D4.
Yeah.
We know one drops out with flex. Going for the high ceilings over the next, 4 or 5 or 6 weeks with those early buys, the 5 scores will drop out. The big scores at the top, what's going to set you apart, I think. Wanted Max Gawn in, but there was no way I was watching Thursday night tonight, Richmond Carlton, without Tom DeConing in as VC.
Yeah, okay. Nah,
So
I mean, I was an owner of Tommy DeConing last year when he went on his berserk run and 170 against his brother, and then followed by a number of 140s. Like, I can't remember who they were against, but it just seemed like every time he would come up against, it's just the contested possessions that he gets. Like, obviously he's a ruckman, he gets the hit outs, but he's not a massive hit out guy. It's just like every time he touches the ball, it's in a contested way and he just gets a clearance or does something amazing. So I expect him to go big against Richmond tonight. And if you are like me and considering going every single player a green dot and having no loopholes to start the year.
No, you're not, You're not.
I might go the straight C.
Straight C.
Captain C on big Tommy DeConing. That being said, obviously, I don't have the likes of your beautiful bearded man in Max Gawn. So I feel like we've already had a couple of comments about it, up against Briggs this weekend. It's
not Briggs.
No Briggs. Sorry, no
Lockie
Briggs. Lockie Keefe. It's going to be an absolute bloodbath.
Yep.
So with Maxi Gawn, 20% owned. I wonder if that lifts right before the deadline after seeing your team here, Fance, and your structure. But very interesting structure. If you have just joined us, the Fance going with 3 premium rucks included with the new flex position.
That's what you said at the start of the year.
Yeah.
Why, if we've got an extra spot, why don't we use it on the safest player that could, the safest 120 or 115, which is at the moment, we've seen past few years, is the dominant ruckman in the competition. Now, you're smiling, it's a comment come through, but we know Toby Nankervis is a great ruckman, but again, it's what Tom DeConing can do around the ground.
Yeah, I agree.
What are they saying?
Not happy? No.
Harry Boyd R3 as well at the moment.
Yeah. So there's people, enjoying it. One person wants to just quickly show you the back line because you've cropped that out for the moment. If you've just joined us, we'll just scroll up and show you the full squad there for those people. There is a Lockie Keefe is only 170k pew pew, which, as I said, Lair listeners will know this sound effect means they are a point of difference. They are shooting from the hip. Pew pew. Pew pew. Got a few different ones here.
Hipster, obviously the character, the hipster, always like to be a bit different.
Yep. Haven't seen, where's his team reveal? I have not seen that squad yet.
I don't know where he is, let alone his team. I don't know where he is.
Yeah. It's unbelievable scenes, but hopefully we get to see that. Don't think he's coming tonight though, is he? No. Shout out to the hipster.
Yep.
Shall we continue with your squad? Yeah, fans.
Yep. Forward line. Now the forward line are going to be not going to surprise anyone. Really, maybe our Peyton. If he still hasn't picked our man. Our man.
There he is again, the horny one.
The horny one. Jason Horne-Francis should be your F1. Full stop.
Yep. I think we've talked ad nauseum about him in the preseason. We've got a picture. I'll get full screen so you guys can all see this. We've got a picture of him right behind us here. That is the great man.
The horny one.
Yep.
The horny man, the horny one. We do love Jason Horne-Francis over here. So Big fan.
A gift, an absolute super coach
Absolutely.
gift as a forward. A all South Australian top two in the forward line. Isaac Rankin, number 2, another forward lock. He should be in your team. I know there's a lot of bargains, but pay up for Isaac Rankin. Only scored in the 90s against the Lions in the Amy series, but just showed Matthew Nix's plans for him in the
the
midfield.
midfield
this year.
role was the key. And yeah, I think you put on your buy, hold, sell video. I think it was a couple of weeks ago. After that, you said, yeah, let's hold this guy. There's people selling because it wasn't a massive score. It wasn't 150 or something like some people did, but he did enough to show he's going to be playing midfield, which we've been dying to see from Isaac Rankin.
Yep, good early draw for the Crows as well. Got to scroll down a bit because there's a lot of stuff you don't want to look at there when you're scrolling down
In the forward line.
in the Supercoach forward line. Now, we got to go a long way down. Sam Darcy, your man.
Oh, yeah.
But we got to go a long way down to a guy who's not used to being a long way down, Jack McRae, 392K.
Oh, yeah.
The role, again, we know he's just a ball-winning midfielder.
This is the bit where it gets a bit vanilla. I think everyone's forward line is just about the next couple of picks.
So we'll just go Bailey Smith then, F4, which, and then another.
Then Jeremy Finlay. Where are you going past Jeremy Finlay?
Jeremy Finlay.
Everyone should have. No?
Biggest trap of 2024, 2025. Caleb Daniel, again, another player that should be in everyone's team. And there's enough bargains there. Riley Sanders is obviously the other one I want to get in.
Okay.
Injuries galore at the Bulldogs.
Yeah, he's going to be one of my corrective
Yeah.
picks. I need to see it, and it's mainly Bevo. Let's be honest. Everyone knows it's Bevo. Are we going to see the full-time midfield role? And also, as much as we said, don't worry about scores in those preseason matches, I think it was a 79-point outing that Riley Sanders had in a full-time midfield role with no Bont, no Treloar, no Ed Richards, right? You know, if it's in the 80s, if he's handball happy, if he's not really... you know, having that massive impact. If we're paying for a sort of 80 to 85 at that price, I'm happy just going somewhere else with a rookie or a bigger player. So
I'm not picking him over McRae, Smith, or Daniel, and I'm don't yet sure enough because of all the things you just said to pick him to know to like go down from an Isaac Rankin and not go on the premium. So that leaves F6 for a rookie. I'm only playing one on field, and that will be Sam Davidson. Can't afford in the current structure yet. Could change given if we get more teams. Isaac Kako or a Joe Berry or a Dan Curtin. Can't yet afford that, so I'm happy with Sam Davidson on the field and Sam Davidson on the field only, given the role and what he did in the Amy series. Now, we've spoken about it as well. Connor Stone's got a score in his
cycle already in that
64 points
round
from
zero.
opening round. 119K forward, playing in defence for the Giants. Could be a forward defender DPP by round 6 in Supercoach. We know Ben Patton is a defender forward as well, up in defence. So no-brainer, I think, on the bench, given there's still a lot of uncertainty around a lot of other guys there. So F8 is still a little bit up in the air.
Yeah.
Given what might happen or might not happen at team sheets. If I need to find the money for a Kako or a Curtin or a Joe Berry, we know Joe Berry's been confirmed to debut. Port love him. We've said it on the Lair before. I have to spend up, I will. But if the Ds do name Haydn Johnson, he's a mature ager from the VFL, ready to go.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll pick him there potentially at F8.
Okay.
But very much up in the air. So you see it there. That could change in the next 2 hours when we get teams. Keep an eye out tomorrow, overnight. I will update it. I'll make sure I'm letting everyone know because, as always, at this time of year when you are putting out your team, it's very dependent on what happens at Thursday night team selection, potentially Friday night when they cut the Sunday squad. So that's it. Most of it's in place. On field, I'm happy with Jacob Blight, Wayne Miller. A D4 is the issue potentially at the moment. Do I just potentially go down to a Jackson Pryor play 3 rookies on the field in defence, then I could bump up a few of those rookies. Would allow me to then play Nathan O'Driscoll potentially on the bench as well. Maybe bring in Isaac Kako on the forward bench. So those decisions I've got to weigh up.
It's a solid
before
squad.
tonight.
It's a very solid squad. I'm impressed. I think
Impressed. Oof.
impressed.
I'll
I'm
take it.
impressed by the guns and rooks strategy. That I kind of, it's very guns and rooks heavy compared
Very
to
top end guns.
yeah,
too.
top end guns, top end 600 plus K guns. It's completely the opposite direction that I've gone. I feel like a lot of people have gone in that mid sort of balancing act of premiums, mid prices. Yours is like very heavy. I quite like the different strategy that we're seeing. I feel like this flex position has just opened up a lot of different strategies that people can go with. And obviously, being the first year that we're seeing it, we don't know what's the best way. But the way that you've gone about it, it's very interesting. Any questions, people, for the Phantoms? Fantastic team. I'm going to try and
Fantastic.
overlay. I'm going to try and overlay it here. We'll see if it works. No, it doesn't. Oh, yeah, there we go. It's kind of it looks a bit dodgy, but it might be a bit easier for people to see here.
Put us on full screen behind.
Yeah, that's
We'll be
a
in
good,
the middle.
that's a good idea.
Oh, look at that!
Oh,
Look
wow.
at that! You planned that.
That's good stuff. Hopefully, that's still the same team.
Heavy,
that you
and
had
also the
before.
screenshot tool as well, new to SuperCoach this year.
Yes, new screenshot tool. Let us know.
Hit us up with your team as well
What
on
you
social
think?
at the Phantom SC at HK DOS after this, or at SuperCoach the main account. Screenshot your team using that tool.
Yeah, so I agree with some of the comments. I was saying fantastic just to sort of soften the blows from the listeners here,
But what have they said?
from the watchers, the viewers. 6 out of 10 was the first.
6 out of 10.
I
Okay,
saw.
well, I'll take that above average.
Phantom, where's your head at? 2 out of 10.
2.
From the next thing. Phantom
You put
face
name-
reveal.
you put
Someone
names-
said here as well.
Put names to any of these. I'll just write them down. 2 out of 10. I keep the receipts.
PK was the 6 of 10.
Okay.
The Bombers was the
2.
2 out of 10.
Okay.
The centre bounce saying Phantom face reveal ? So we've already kind of touched on that in the Lair podcast. If you want to go listen to the latest episode of the Lair on the official SuperCoach podcast feed.
New year, new me.
Look,
We weren't doing this sort of stuff in the past.
No, that's right.
We're free.
We're
Phantom's
free.
free.
Zorko, getting a bit more look at Zorko in there.
What
Love
about-
your stuff, Phantom.
Oh.
From Peter. So
Thanks, Pete.
some positive feedback there. Worried about Levi Ashcroft. I think Levi Ashcroft is in this screenshot actually, but that's been changed.
Yes.
So yeah, just to let you know, this screenshot was taken like moments before we found that
So-
out. So
But also, Hugh Boxall 2 there, if you're looking at it, is Lucas Campriali.
yeah, so we've made a few changes on the fly. Phantom taking my advice on Camperley.
And Ed Allen is on field now, not Levi Ashcroft.
Okay.
Nathan O'Driscoll, very close.
So things are changing right up until
Things have changed. That's an old screenshot, yes. So no Levi Ashcroft at the moment, if the sub news is true.
worried about Ed Allen.
On the field.
Worried about Ed Allen though.
No.
Due to reduced role with DeGoey coming back. That one from Connor.
I think they have to find room for him.
Okay. What else we got? Backline is hard in your mouth type stuff from
It
Dan.
is. Yep, it is. I'm well happy with the top 3. Matt Roberts is a primo.
Yeah,
I
I
think.
agree. I think he is a primo.
Jacob Blight now. It's going to be interesting watch tonight. If Matthew Nix did speak today, we'll talk to the hipster after this about what he said about Wayne Miller. I think he said he wants to play him. We know that we want to get him in, but he's played 2 quarters in the preseason for a guy who's been troubled by injury a lot. I'm not sure I could pick him with confidence that he either wouldn't be the sub or would be subbed off.
Okay.
So Jacob Blight, I don't mind.
That was I feel like
Yep.
that was a bit of twisting the arm there from Dirty. But
Yeah, I'll take something off you.
Jacob Blight, do like it. Winner of the time trial, if we want to go far back.
Yeah, we're going far back.
There was positive signs early.
250K, done it before. Interceptor.
Yep.
Ball's going to be back there.
Garcia, is he still a good pick?
Hugo.
Not in your team? Yeah. Hugo, definitely.
Yep, I like it. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
can't fit him in. A lot of bargains there. Again, you could not play the rookie, play Davidson on your bench, Davidson and Kako on your bench, or Davidson and Connor Stone on your bench. Hugo Garcia and Caleb Daniel on field to finish off. I don't mind that at all.
I also like, I know you can start with these guys, but I also like those kind of him and a Sanders, they're not super expensive. So if one of your mid-price guys fails and you don't start them, they're not impossible to get to before their price goes up. So you can kind of always, if you don't start with them, you cannot generally get them based on your team structure. But that's why I kind of don't necessarily like starting. Are you worried about Patton's job security down back? Al Payton, no. Ben,
Maybe.
Ben Patton back there.
Horse backed him in last week. Wasn't their worst player. Again, I think you could probably worried about job security for all those guys back there. Maybe Zach Reed aside. Jackson Pryor too. Brad Scott spoke very highly of him during the week. But Leaks, Patton, trainer, yes, though. Tigers love him. Have to play the kids. But again, he's owning the kids. Had his concussion issues in the past too. Is he going to play every game in the first 2 months? Not sure. So there's concerns with all of them, but I think what we've got available, I think you have to pick him. So ideally, you only play 2 rookies or 1 on the field in defence.
Now
Jackson Pryor might be one though.
We are taking questions from the people at the moment, fans. So make sure you get your questions in. These can be general questions. They don't have to be about Phantom's team now. We're going to go through a few questions before we wrap it up.
Your dilemmas. There, your dilemmas. We're at 2. What are we? What is a Supercoach? 2 hours and 37 minutes away from the first bounce.
Yep. Teams are going to be so great as well. We've got a live team show coming up
so
as well.
Again, if you don't get your questions in now, if you miss out, join us there. I'll be with our Payton, not Ben Patton.
Yes.
Matt Forrest as well for the live team show powered by Better.
Correct. It'll be good. And then let's get into squadrons. We've already got a heap flying through here. So
thank you for joining us. Thanks again for listening, commenting, engaging throughout the preseason. It's been a good preseason. We've taken up a level, I think, in the Lair. You guys have come along for the ride. So thank you. And we're for a big year, I think.
We are. I'll bring the team up again in a sec, but we'll just answer a few questions first with the full merch on display as well here. Just a beautiful little studio we got going on here. Sam Pow Pepper, thoughts? The Power Guernsey up here. You got a bit of intel down there. I think, I probably just dismissed him throughout the preseason, but I think the one thing we can say about Power Pepper is job security is maximum.
All right, if you had to do a rapid list of job security, you'd probably say Finn O'Sullivan and Sam Power Pepper would be close to the top 2. Again, he's got a role. Ken loves him. Port love him. Going to be consistent, but not at a high level.
Yeah, I'll pop the...
So again, he's still going to make money. So I guess you could say that it doesn't matter if he averages 60 or 65.
Okay.
So he could be one that scores well in the first couple of weeks or well enough at his price, and everyone goes, oh, yeah, actually, he is cheap.
What about...
So I don't mind if you fit him in.
Yeah, Harry Perryman. You don't have him in your team at the moment. And if you're just joining us, Levi Ashcroft has moved out based on the sub news. We've had a fair few questions.
Ed Allen's in.
Ed Allen's on field.
This was a screenshot we took half an hour before the show.
You will be able to go back and watch the stream after this as well. So we are just taking questions here at the end. Now, this is an interesting one. You don't have one of the most popular flex picks. Obviously, you have gone massive in the rucks. You don't have Matt Flynn.
Yep, so Harry Perryman as well. Like him, just couldn't. Again, he'd be one. Joel Freezer, Harry Perryman, if I could fit there at D4, would be perfect. Not play Jacob Blight. But didn't want to change much else. Again, if something happens at teams, maybe comes into it, but I prefer Roberts over Perryman. That's why I've got him. Matt Flynn, again, he was just a victim of needing Tom DeConing after bringing in Max Gorn.
Okay.
Again, it's like, I still think Flynn's going to make money. He's going to be good. But I've got Gorn, Cherry, and DeConing, then I don't need Matt Flynn.
Question for the hipster here again. He gets quite a lot of comments. Has the hipster retired? Miss him trying to take over unique names with 5 names.
Yes, unique names with 5 names.
He'll be back.
Will he?
I hope so.
We'll pass on the message. Who was that from?
Connor Dolan on YouTube. This one, there's a few questions about Chera. I mean, he's playing tonight against the Tigers. He's a mid-pricer. I've been on board. You've never been on board, Chera. You're not a fan. Why? Why are you not a fan?
Just think. I think now, especially,
107 average, what, 2023?
I like your Day and your Callahans. Had his injury
Yeah.
trouble, not durable, a little bit inconsistent potentially as well. I guess that's probably based on his issues with his body. I just think there's other guys we can trust more.
Rosé, no Rosé here either. That's an interesting. I keep going back and forth with Connor Rosé. He's the one I'm struggling the most just to fit in with my structure because I've got a couple of premiums right at the top that I don't want to get rid of under 600k, though, of course, as I've said. But a couple of premiums I can't bring myself to get rid of because I've been high on them all preseason, and then
Same.
Connor Rosé's come in, gone bonkers in this practice match. Obviously, no Zach Butters, so he's going to be just the number one guy alongside Jason Horne-Francis, and they've got like a pretty reasonable schedule to start the season as well. I don't know. Maybe he's one that I have to think about bringing in before the deadline, but I just don't want to shuffle around too much at the moment.
We've seen him go bonkers in the past as well, and still
stubs his toe the next week,
and just hasn't yet shown he consistently be at the high level in SuperCoach. Like, can he get 600k? Can he be a top 6 to 8 midfielder? Maybe if he's has a good run with his body, he can. I'm just not certain of it yet. That's why I left him out, and that's why, again, like you, I'm not going down to him, and I'm happy enough not to go up to him either.
A couple questions here about the best 550k defenders: Tom Stewart, Max Holmes, Nazire, Wanganeen, Millerer. I will reveal exclusively.
Oh,
Tom Stewart's my D1. I feel like he's gone completely under the radar. It's his lowest
D1.
It's his lowest average in about 7 years or something like that. He's going to play a hybrid role,
D1.
defender mid. We saw what Jack Sinclair did last year. This guy's like multiple time All-Australian. I just don't understand. We all dismissed.
Just in your draft team?
Can I just say we all dismissed Zorko? We all dismissed Zorko last year because of his age. Tom Stewart's 5 years younger than him. And he also had a similar path in terms of starting later in his career, like Zorko did. A bit more longevity. I think we're just forgetting about Tom Stewart.
But
So
Tom Stewart's far more valuable to the Chris Scott's structure. Sometimes midfield. Sometimes to fill a hole anywhere and be like a rock in defence.
Move him around?
Dane Zorko
so good
doesn't.
He gets tagged.
Dane Zorko just goes out there and does whatever he wants. Just gets as many kicks as he can.
Okay, I'm a big fan. Nobody's
I like to.
really
I'm not discounting Tom Stewart as a player. It's just he's had a bit of a fall in SuperCoach.
Okay. Well, there was a couple of other names there. Max Holmes.
We like Naz.
I lost the question.
We like Naz.
Yeah, I do like Nazire. So, out of those three, what are you going to order? Tom Stewart, Nas, and Max Holmes.
Naz, Holmes, Stewart. Very close, Holmes and Stewart.
All right. There's another one about Matt Flynn. We've covered that one. Oh, there's a few here. Running big 3 rucks because you're planning to hop. Oh, okay. Are you running the big 3 rucks because you're planning to hop off Tom De Koning when Pitnet comes back in? Is that the plan? That's what Will's asking on YouTube.
Just be a wait and see thing. Not specifically planning for that, because if there's no reason. Well, I guess Pitnet is the reason, but why can't Tom De Koning average 115 plus too? By the end of the aim of the game is to be premiums all over your field as quick as you can. So I think I've tried to pick the best 3 rucks in SuperCoach, or I think will be the best 3 rucks in SuperCoach. And we know the best rucks tend to always feature high in the overall scorers. So again, yes, can pivot if Pitnet comes back and causes issues, but perfect world, Gawn, Cherry, and De Koning will average 115 plus. Gawn and Cherry 120 plus.
God, I can pop these on the screen too.
Yes.
I don't know why I haven't been doing that. When is the Chiefs team reveal from Dan?
Chieftain.
The Chief. Oh, does he? He's
Tom Stewart D1. I don't think you want to see the rest of it.
Keeping that secret.
Yeah, quickly show the
I
rest.
haven't had time, actually. I don't care. I can just throw it out there.
Quickly show for people just joining us, show my team, share the screen.
Your
Yep.
We've got it up, though. I've got it up here.
It's the old team.
Oh, the old team. Okay. All right. Give me a sec. There, fans. Hide this one. Get this up. Here's the new team. I'll get a few more comments as we go, and then we might
Wrap it up.
Yep.
Got plenty to do in the next hour and a half, but you'll see there if you're just joining us. Well, Ed Allen replacing Levi Ashcroft, Lucas Campriali coming in at the moment, replacing Hugh Boxall too, who again we're not going to know exactly where he fits into the side potentially, given the Saints will name a squad of 25 Thursday night. We know Lucas Campriali is starting on the ground at the G.
What about this one? How much dollars left in the bank there, fans?
Good question.
Oof. Just pennies.
$900.
Couple of bucks.
$900. That's it.
From Miles, no Dawson. That's my M2. Another bit of a reveal for old Dossie here. Yeah, I love Jordan Dawson this season. I think he's well unders, but your thoughts?
Not against it. I like it too. Just my concern has been he's just so valuable to Matthew Nicks.
Yep.
And his versatility, will he be used around the ground potentially at times? Maybe.
Now, this is a critical question from Dylan. Does Supercoach start this week or next week? It is this week.
This week. Tonight.
Starts
Thursday
tonight.
night, first lockout. But
Make your team.
only make a team now, supercoach.com.au, but only Richmond and Carlton players are locked out.
So you can still make your team across the weekend. I mean, if you forget until the very last game, you can stack your teams with the final game of the round.
So Tom De Koning, VC tonight. That's just about that's your absolute must tonight, I think. Then you can just fix up the rest later.
Thoughts on Ridley from Shane?
Oh,
quick fire.
At his best, we know he's a big Supercoach scorer, but not yet. I want to wait and see.
Will Ashcroft, we've got a couple here.
Like it. Yep. Yep. Like it.
Okay. Tim English?
No. Well, I like it too, but I just can't pick him over Gorn, Cherry, and De Koning. No, he's a bit cheaper. Don't mind the option. Are you still going to be trying to go up to Gorn, Cherry, maybe De Koning? He's still going to be dropping points, maybe.
Okay, we've got one here. You're doing this clearly, but prioritising Zorko, Neil, and Gorn due to the early fixture during the best 18 buy round. So we kind of covered
Jackson is on
that's your thoughts.
The same page. Yep.
Okay. What about Jack Sinclair? Haven't talked about him in a little bit in the premium defender bracket. I reckon he would have been in your first draft teams until the hammy.
First, second, third draft teams. Yeah. Yep. Even was going to just pick him because he's been on track for round one. Had to shuffle. Shizu wanted Zorko. Couldn't fit that third premium in. But I love him and love him as a pod too. Massive end to the year. I think what did he average to finish the year? He's priced at 110. I think he averaged 120 in the final couple of months or 8 rounds or so. So I do like him as a pod. Yep.
Thoughts on Paddy Cripps?
It's a hard one. We don't talk about him enough in Supercoach. Is he just below that real top end? Maybe. Obviously.
Yeah.
Brownlow medalist.
I know.
But I think it's just below, he turns over a little bit sometimes, just below that top end in Supercoach midfielders.
Yeah, I'd prefer Walsh and Chera over him this year. I know that's
not Chera.
Yeah, no, Chera as well. Chera as well, definitely. I've had a couple of O'Driscoll comments. We kind of covered this a little bit earlier if you want to go back and watch, but yes, he's not in the squad.
Very close though. And again, if there's something happened at teams and I found some more cash, I would play him or Ed Allen on the bench, one on the field.
How don't you have Libba with Bont out?
Like it. Big pod.
Sarong or Brayshaw? Need answers.
Sarong.
Brayshaw.
We have to have a bit of a bet there. Sarong.
I've got Brayshaw, but I don't mind both. I think there's people out there starting both, so I wouldn't not mind either. Luke Parker, there was a question about this earlier as well. I'm not a fan. I think he just played too much forward. Look at their midfield stacked.
Might pop up with a big score, but not consistent.
Not consistent. All right, last couple here. Lloyd Meek, after what we saw the other day.
No.
Not for you.
I think he's going to increase his output for sure.
Solid outing.
Is he cheap enough to start? Maybe not. You need him to be a keeper. You're always going to probably want to go up, aren't you? You're not going to be happy with him as your final Ruckman on field, I wouldn't have thought.
Now, we'll just finish with the burning question of the week. I think Callahan or Day. Which way are you going?
I think Callahan will average more for the year. But given the bye, you can wait and be sure. So if you're starting someone this week, I'd probably pick Day.
I'm going Callahan. I don't, and it's it's a really tough decision. I just think they're going to be. I don't know why. I've made up my mind. I think Callahan's just going to be an 80% plus centre bouncer 10D for GWS, and I think Will Day is going to play what Dawson had to do last year. Play where the team needs him. He'll get tagged. He'll go back and forth. He'll pop some monumental scores, but I think he might get shut out a couple of times. Very, very last question, fans. Captain and vice captain this week. You've kind of touched on it. So
TDK VC, Tom De Koning tonight, and then Max Gawn on Sunday against Lockie Keefe.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you very much for watching. You can go back and watch this entire team reveal if you missed the beginning and missed the team that was fans. I sort of said it was fantastic afterwards. I'm reassessing that. I think maybe I'll go with one of the listeners, one of the viewers, 6 out of 10. Let's go with that one. But
I'll take that. I'm excited. Again, join us for the live team show coming up
very soon.
Very soon. I'll be on our page, Matt Forrest, and then the footy's here. We'll be back in the Lair next week to dissect it all. Good luck. Enjoy it, Chief. Been a good preseason. Looking forward to getting into it officially.
Yep. Very nervous for the last couple of hours before lockout. If you haven't made your team, go do it now. Listen to the official SuperCoach podcast as well, where you can find all our podcasts throughout the season.
Wait, we did promise one thing, that we were going to give the code to our Lair Open League.
Yeah.
Get in there now, 719067. 719067. Join the Lair Open League. Take us on. Take down the Chief.
All right, guys. Good luck with your teams, and we'll see you for the live show very shortly. Fairly well.